We're here with Susan Lavelle, the development director here at the Boulder Valley Velodrome. Susan, tell us a little bit about just who you guys are in a general sense.
We are a Olympic caliber 250 meter cycling venue for track cycling like you see in the Olympics. To ride on the track continuously, you've got to be certified.
Okay.
So that's a four class certification with Pat, who is our director. And the reason being is that we just want you to be safe. It is a very steep banked track, and so you learn all the rules on how to ride the track.
And what makes this an Olympic certified track? What are the actual measurables?
So when it comes to the Olympic size, 250 is the standard. So when you watch the Olympics, it's a 250 meter track, and some of them are banked a little differently, but they're all 250 meters.
Awesome. And from taking a look around, it doesn't seem like these are traditional bikes. Will you tell us a little bit about the actual specifications of the bikes?
Sure. They only have one gear. They have no brakes.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's a specific type of bike, and we actually have an entire fleet of bikes in our bunker that are specialized. So if you come to ride the track, we have bikes for you, and we also have shoes from Specialized as well. There's only one gear, no brakes, and you have to actually pick your gear when you're riding and racing. Our bikes have a specific gear on them.
Now I understand that there are national teams, Olympic teams that are coming here. Tell us a little bit about who might be coming here, the different types of groups that use this track.
Well, we right now we have the national team trains almost weekly, unless they're racing, in other places in the country or internationally. So this is their training grounds that they come to. So the national team, and then we have the Paralympian team that come up from Colorado Springs, and they ride here as well. Usually once a week they're here. And then we have the Australian Olympic sprint team coming. Wow. At the end of July and early August, and then we also have the Canadian national team coming. And then like tonight we've got a couple international riders, one from Trinidad that's here training, and then another I believe from Singapore. So we get international racers.
Is there an age limit, or is this open to anyone? Tell us a little bit about that.
So we have really tiny bikes up to very tall bikes. So the tiny bikes, you have to be able to stand over the bike,
okay,
and have the strength to be able to clip in and clip out because they're clipless pedals. So typically it's about 11, 12 years old where we can start a kid riding on the track.
In my opinion, from my experience, I didn't really like this, but I tried it out and now I'm loving it.
I don't know, I just watch people on TV, and I just see that they're going really fast. And I guess I just want to try and see how it feels.
We're here with Jennifer Sharp now, and she's been riding for 15 years, and last week she just won a national championship. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. It was on the track down in LA on the tandem bike. I was with my blind stoker, Wendy Wertheiser, and we won the 3-kilometer pursuit.
That's awesome. So you're a pretty accomplished rider. When did you start? Take us through the years of the different milestones you've hit and where you are now.
Sure. I started about 15 years ago. I was actually a boxer to begin with.
Wow.
And I got kind of tired of getting beat in the head, so I started looking for another sport, and cycling was just kind of a natural progression. I started commuting to work by bike. I lived in Seattle and found myself enjoying the commute more than the work itself. So I got a bike, prioritized things, and started racing right away. Ended up getting up to the pretty high levels, World Cups. I was also, again, a pilot for the World Championships, a couple World Cups as well, so yeah.
That's awesome. And how did you end up here? We're in Erie, Colorado, obviously. You're from Seattle, or at least you lived in Seattle for a time. How did you end up here?
Yeah, so I moved out of Seattle because of love and sunshine. There wasn't a lot of each. I moved to Colorado Springs actually about 8 years ago. Lived there for 3 years, and then moved to Boulder about 5 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you've presumably ridden on tracks everywhere in all different styles and types. What makes this venue unique?
That it's outdoors and that we have the wonderful weather that we do. It's also an outdoor wooden track. The one in Seattle that I grew up on was actually a cement track. So it's nice to kind of have this smaller bank track. That one there in Seattle, again, is 400 meters versus this one, which is a 250 meter track. So it's a lot different, how it rides, how it feels, the spectators and everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking a moment to talk with us, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
About 2003 or 4, my partner, Doug Emerson, who I've known since the 80s, and I just briefly chatted about the possibility of doing a velodrome for fun, a small track that we get our friends involved in. And it grew from there, and in 2005, he and I formed a partnership. And from that point forward, have looked for a piece of property that would be suitable for a velodrome. Through a fortuitous connection, found this property in Erie, and started the process. So it's a long process. We looked at maybe 7 properties in Boulder County over the course of 2 years, and each one had some impediment to progress. And we weren't going to live long enough to go through some of the bureaucracies you had to. And this was a piece of property privately owned, and we bought it as a private partnership and started the process. One of the unique characteristics of the Front Range, Boulder County, Boulder, is our riding population. We have a nationally, internationally recognized group of elite cyclists, which has brought out every citizen race rider in the city, county. So we have a huge 120, 200,000 people that ride their bikes every day. And so Doug, through the bike shop, had the firsthand experience of that, and we knew there were enough riders, if we could engage that population, that there'd be enough people to make this a viable project. We knew if we created a culture, and you're in the middle of it, where people want to be here, where the riders are having fun, where we have coaches from international level down to local kid coaches that like to be here, and that's the culture. If you don't create the culture and go find the people, and you guys have been seen this, people will drive up and down County Line Road until their tires wear out and never stop. But if there's something here to see, and somebody says, we put a sign out, come on in. We just finished hosting the Erie Economic Council to get people in here. They have to see what we have, and then the wow factor comes out. Wow, that's cool. One of the things we're really proud of is our international outreach, that we have had cycling groups. We've had the Canadian women's Olympic team here, pursuit team. We had the Dutch sprint team here. We have the Australian sprinters coming in August. May have the Canadian men coming back. We've had time trialists from Ireland. We have a cyclist that comes here in the summer from India to train. So we are known in the international industry as a good velodrome. And so I'd say that. We argue, we throw this out. We consider ourselves to be the finest outdoor velodrome in the world, and we ask people to prove us wrong. Show them.
I am really, really happy I am not scoring this race.
Yeah, so Tyler Cole from Trinidad and Tobago. I started racing this stage maybe like April last year. So there's this guy from Trinidad and Tobago who he used to race professionally. Now he's he races masters now. He is retired professionally. So he has a team called the NGCA Elite Cycling Team based out of Georgia. So I raced with his team for a couple months last year. And then on some international racing that I did last year, through some mutual contacts, met Andy Sparks, former U.S. Olympic coach. So linked up with him and decided to come out here to train in Colorado Springs, where he's based. So I started training out here in the beginning of February. I've been here traveling back and forth from competitions and training since then. An effective rider, definitely, there's two sides to it. There's the physiological side, like, you put into training to get stronger, to build more endurance, to be able to withstand the physiological challenges in the race itself. Then also you're focusing a lot on just saving as much energy, or using that energy efficiently throughout the race, especially if it's a long race. You don't want to go out too hard from the beginning or, you know, like save too much in the tank for the end and then you don't get there or whatever the case is. So it's a lot about paying attention and being concentrated on what everyone else is doing, at the same time focusing on how you're feeling and gauging when you want your max effort to be able to either win the sprint or whatever the case is.
And we have a close race. By my estimation, I would say that was Tyler Cole.